Hey everybody, it's Deontay. My wife is Shae here. The first video. And I want to kick this thing off by asking her a few questions. So, Shae, what kind of feel did you get from me when I first messaged you and asked you out?
What type of vibe did I get?
Yeah.
I felt as though you were... Okay, so the way he approached me, just so that you all know, is that he reached out to me through Facebook. It was Messenger actually, through Facebook. He sent me a message, and I think I still have the message. Basically, I thought that he was very respectful, because, you know, girls, when guys kind of slide in Messenger or Instagram, your DMs, sometimes they're a little bit cornball. He was respectful. I think you told me your name, and you was just like, hey, you know, I saw you in high school. I think you said high school. And I would like to take you out sometime. He was very respectful.
And here it is, May 11th, 2018, me pouring my heart out for love.
So
Took her about a week to respond.
well, guys, I'm not a big social media person. In terms of, like, I like Instagram, but you didn't reach out to me through Instagram. You reached out to me through Facebook. And by that time, with Facebook, with the uploads and with the updates and everything, you have to go on Messenger, like, to get your messages. And you have to, if you're looking through it on your phone, which I was, you have to download the Messenger app. So it's another step. So I saw a notification. Well, actually, no. I'm lying. I didn't see no notification. And the only reason I happened to see your message is because I went to Barbados with my friend and I lost my phone. So I had to order a new one. And that was the only way I could communicate, is through Facebook. So that's the only reason I happened to see his.
Yeah, you asked me, I remember you asking me if I had an Instagram. I made an Instagram just because she asked me. I only had like 2 pictures up there, so I still look like a catfish. But
yeah, it was kind of... I mean, I knew he wasn't a catfish because when you did send me your social media platforms, the pictures were consistent. But I did, ladies, whenever somebody randomly message you out the blue, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, ask to see their pictures. Because they could be a whole catfish, or they could be a creep. I'm sorry.
Or they could be your husband, you know. You gotta take the chance.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, y'all see that ring. I don't play about mine.
So when we went on our first date, what was your first impressions of me?
Well, you stroll right in without even, texting me that you were there. I was there waiting a little bit, so
I thought I was late.
She was a little late.
I thought I was late.
But it's okay.
Because I think I had texted you, and I know girls and guys, I think more girls do it. I don't know. But I remember I had texted you. I'm on my way. I was just leaving my house. Actually, I think I was just putting my shoes on, leaving. Well, not my house. I lived with my parents. So I was leaving my parents' house.
But, I wanted to make a good first impression. Then I saw her walk in there. She had, little crop top on, some jeans.
Little crop top? I mean, most of myself was covered.
Short hair.
Yeah, I had cut my hair back then in the buzz. It was really short.
I knew it was her, but just like, I could only see, like, the back of her head and all that. And then I walked in there. Then when I did go in the restaurant, it was kind of like a movie moment where you see the back of somebody's head. You don't. So she couldn't see me walking up, and I couldn't see her face. So it's kind of like eyes met at, kind of like a love at first sight type. So
what did you think? Just by the way what I wore, did you think, oh, she's risque? Or
No, I didn't think anything at all. I was like, at the time, I just wanted to step out there and take a chance, and you were taking a chance on me, so I went in there with a clear head. Anything could happen, and it could be good, it could be bad, but I'm just so thankful that it was good.
Okay.
Conversation turned out good.
Yeah.
We exchanged numbers. Been talking ever since, like literally ever since.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm laughing because going back to when he messaged me, I remember he had asked to pick me up, and I remember I was like, no, I'll drive, because I didn't want to be in a situation. I mean, not saying you were a creep, but I didn't want to be a situation where I was you know, could potentially be a victim and like have to wait for them to like take me home. And then again, I needed to meet you before I gave you my parents' address. That was literally, I think, like, stuff like that.
That was like, when you text me said, no, I'll drive there, it was like, you know, I offered to just a gentleman. I felt it was a gentleman thing to do, just to offer.
But you weren't offended when I said I would drive there. Were you like, she?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's understandable. Like, you got to really be watching out for people. Like, even though I know me, I wouldn't do anything, it's like I'm still a stranger. I was still at the time a stranger. So, it was very smart to like not put yourself in a position where you were kind of dependent on me to get home and
yeah.
Let me ask you, since you forgot, how did you know I was the one?
How did I know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's just a matter of really like I feel like our relationship was just like the perfect, well, I don't want to use perfect, but for me, it was refreshing because I had started, before he had came along, just backstory, I was starting to lose hope in finding a significant other. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't really there was very few, for me, situationships. I don't even want to call them relationships. And when I say situationships, won't nobody, you know, it was just talking and stuff like that on that type of level, trying to see whether or not it was going to go somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I just felt like either I would get bored or the guys, I was just like, yeah, this we're wasting time. This is not really going to become something. But with him, I just felt like what got me out the gate is I could tell that somebody raised him right. So kudos to your mother. I just feel and your father, both of them had raised a very respectful man, and I think for me that was my biggest thing, because I feel like when you came in, you were just respectful. And then I felt like one of the things, to go back to your question, that was big for me is that our conversations, I never felt like they were forced, and I never felt uncomfortable. Like, I felt like you put me in a situation where I was comfortable to open up to you. And
just genuinely want to know more about you.
I think our first like conversation, I think you were asking me all these questions. Like, it wasn't like, when I say asking me all these questions, it wasn't like an interview type thing. Like, he seemed genuinely interested. Yeah. And I think we touched on career goals. Like, I was in school, so I think you asked me like what I was doing in school, and then we talked about like you know, family and stuff like that and what my parents did. And I just thought you genuinely showed an interest. And I think that I just knew that you were the one because you fully accepted me for me. And it wasn't something that was like, and I could tell that you genuinely loved me. You know what I mean? I could tell that it was something, like, it just was a good fit. And I kind of had to ask myself, like, you know, this is the guy that you literally prayed for. Do you want to, like, you know, waste time, or do you want to like settle down? Because he's basically saying that he wants you to be his wife. Are you like, and so I just think that, you know, I was willing to take that chance just because of how you treated me and just, you know, the connection I felt like we had very early on and continue to have. That was a long-winded answer, but.
No, I loved it.
No, you loved it. What, as a guy, as a man, what, because I feel like it's pressure for guys because society, you know, based off of what we hear and stuff, typically the guy pursues the girl. And I'm not saying this is everyone's relationship. I'm not trying to, you know, because I know every situation is different. But typically the guy is the one that pursues the girl and asks whether or not, you know, he's the one that chooses, like, hey, proposes and stuff like that as far as marriage. So what was the feeling that you had about marrying me? I know we talked about marriage, but
So, yeah, to give you context on behind what like my initial thought of marriage was, and then what you helped me look at it as. Yeah. Like, at first, because I'm not used to marriages in my family, you know, on either side. I'm not used to long lasting relationships. I'm used to like just a lot of co-parenting, just or co-parenting or just, you know, non-existence. But, you know, I was co-parented, and, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. And I know people in my family who, you know, didn't have both parents, as far as I could tell. But so my outlook on marriage was like, you know, what do we need to do that for at first? But
You
very
did say that.
early on in our relationship, she kind of told me how important marriage was to her, and and how it's both of her grandparents, both sets of her grandparents, her mom and dad, and her parents themselves are all married and
Yeah.
all enjoy success together. So she was used to that, and around the time I had reached out to Lachey, I was in situationships as well that didn't really go anywhere, but I feel like the situationships really help us grow and know what we want.
Oh
So
yeah, I knew what I wanted
yeah,
before
so
I met him. So
when that first date and I asked her all the questions and really got to know Lachey a little bit better, I really was like, okay, this is what I want. And then going a little further ahead, some months in the future, she's telling me how important marriage is to her, and I just want to do things differently, and I feel like this was not just to do it just to be doing it, but just to do it because I've seen nothing but success come from doing it this way, like actually starting the foundation with someone and building a family on that foundation. So after at first it had me a little shook when she told me how important marriage was to her, because now I'm committing before I even made the commitment. But I knew that the second I said, hey, I'm not going anywhere, the second I knew that I wasn't going anywhere is pretty much the second I knew I was going to marry her. So 7 months into our relationship, I popped the question. And
it was 7 months.
it was 7 months.
You think that was too early? Because I know that's a debate among couples. Like, what is too early? Yeah.
It's people who get married after years and years of being together and still get to like.
That is true.
It just depends on what you're ready. I feel that's what you're ready for in life and what step you're ready to take. I think each partner, like the male can tell when the male isn't ready, the male can tell when the female isn't ready to take that next step. Sometimes for some people it's too late. Sometimes some people like leave the relationship before they can even like find out what the other person is really where their mind is. So I feel that we found a good balance in between the two. Like, okay,
Yeah.
we know what we want and where we are now, and we know we want to build together. So what can we do to push forward?
Yeah. And I think, because I used to be honest, I used to worry like, oh my goodness, because I had some friends who also got married around that time that you had proposed.
Mm-hmm.
And I always wanted to know, like, what is too early? You know what I mean? And I'm gonna be honest, part of the reason I kept, because we were engaged for a year and some change, like, yeah.
Yeah, we were engaged for
it was some time, and it was, for me, my friends, y'all know, I told my friends, like, later, like, and the only reason, it wasn't because I was, ashamed of my husband now, like, ashamed of who I was marrying. It was just, I know that a lot of people have a lot of different, how can I say this, opinions on when, like, how you should take a relationship, how slow you should take it. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, I'm going to just be real, okay? I feel like I'm wise beyond my years, like, honestly. I feel like you are on some wise. I mean, he is.
I try.
No, he is. I don't think. I mean, you have your moments, but I don't think that you're like immature, like the typical guy your age.
We all have our moments where we kind of let our guard down, let our hair down,
Yeah, so, but I say all that to say, like, I knew what I wanted before I met him. Mm-hmm. You heard what he said about what led him to ask me the question, but I also felt like we met a little bit older in life, and so, like, when I say older, like, I wasn't pursuing my master's, you had lived life or whatever, had situationships where you was like, you kind of know what's out there,
both had life experiences,
yeah, and so it was like, why waste time, you know what I mean, like, why waste time? And I know some people, there's some people who meet in 3 months and like, let's get married. I mean, we didn't do it that way, but we kind of knew, like, okay. And I had a conversation with him early on, just like he said, he wasn't ready for marriage. He wasn't, because I remember, like, I don't know when we had talked about marriage, but I know I had kind of talked about it early on.
It was within the first, I want to say within the first 2 months.
Yeah, it was in the first 2 months. And ladies, ask the question, because some people some guys, it's not even anything against you. It could be like their history, their family don't believe in marriage, that whole ordeal, or somebody has got married in their family, parents divorced, whatever, and so their whole perspective of marriage is sour, it's bad. And so, I was like, okay, we kind of feeling each other. We seeing each other every day. I'm falling asleep with you, on the phone and stuff like that. What are we doing? Because, I'm not just for another long situationship. Like, what are we doing? At this point, I need to know exactly, like, what is the end goal here?
I think a lot of females feel like that, but
they don't say it.
No, I think it's like this. It's kind of like when you hear this, like, so what are we?
Yeah.
From females, and then, like, the male doesn't know what he wants at that time. And that's why I said, like, knowing where you guys both are in life at that time and what the other person wants. So I would say, like, if a female does ask, like, the what are we question, the man can't give a straight answer. That doesn't mean, like, he's not committed. It's just he's not where you are at that time. Yeah. I would say still give it a little time and then ask again a little further down the line. And if it seems like you're wasting your time, I don't want to say just cut all ties, because the situationships, it was never because we just wanted to cut all ties. It just didn't work out. And then now we got something that worked out, so, and we didn't have to go through, too much heartbreak for it. I wouldn't want everybody going out there, oh, this person is committed to me, let me just cut this right now. Like, you don't know what a person can grow into. And that's one of the things why one of the things that, like, really kept me around Shae is that it was always a constant talk about growth, about what my plans are, about what I want to do in life. And I feel like I became a much better person because I started thinking about the questions she asked and really asked myself those same questions. So I think it's a thing where some guys don't ask themselves that question. Their significant others are asking them.
Yeah.
So that's where, if a guy's not thinking about that at the time, then he's caught blindsided, and there's no telling what kind of reaction you'll get, so to speak.
And I know that I answered this question already, but while hearing you speak, one of the things that popped up in my mind about what made me say yes, or how did you know that you were the one for me, or how did I know you were the one for me? I would say, going back to situationships, I do know for me personally, I'm not saying in all, but there's one in particular where I wasn't treated the way that I needed to be treated, and I felt like I should have been treated. And I feel like when Deontay came along, it was just, he treated me the way not only I needed to be treated, but how I desired to be treated. So, and I think that that's big. A lot of, I know everybody has different things that interest them, for boys, I should say females and males. But I know for me, like I said, if I can't be myself around you and I don't feel the love around you, then it's like, what are we doing? And you want somebody who's going to uplift you. Like, I know, babe, you always uplifted me. You always was like, hey, you're in school, like, kudos to you. Like, I didn't think it was big that I was going to school, but you was like, no, you're going to go and you're pursuing your master's right now. And I think that that's good, because you need that in life. You need somebody who's always going to encourage you, even when you don't feel encouraged or think that what you're doing is even significant. But you want somebody who's like, nah, I guess the hype man.
Yeah, you want somebody in your corner who supports you.
And even when you're crusty, and you're crusty, got crust in your eyes, gaining weight and all, I feel like you still gonna hold it down.
Yeah. I feel the same too, especially, that weight, was the happy weight?
Oh yeah, we gained happy weight, y'all. It was bad. It is very real. Like, when I say I gained 20 pounds in happy weight, I'm not even trying to be funny or brag. Those who know me in high school and even in college, for a majority, like college, and even when I started my master's program, I was skinny. Like, I never thought that I was gonna have problems. I mean, I'm skinny, but I'm skinny, but girls know how your body used to be. We know when there's changes. We know when, things starting to slow down. So I'm definitely,
So she's talking about 20. I went from 180, 185 to 215. Y'all do the math on that.
Well, that's. I don't know what to tell you.
Just wanted to say it's very real, but
But we were happy. Shoot.
still happy.
And one thing I can say about me, my body, whenever I'm stressed out and sad, I lose weight. I know that some people for the opposite, but for me, when I'm happy and content, I start getting a little color in me. I start eating like crazy, eating all the bad foods. Like I had Zaxby's today. And I'm just happy being on vacation with my baby, so... but when I go back to work, it's kale chips. I'm just like, not kale chips. But it's,
kale chips?
No. But I do lose weight when I go back to work. Like, I'll be at that. Yeah.
Work can do it to you.
All right. Well, that's that. Yeah.
Episode 1. Thank y'all for whoever's watching. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah. Thank you. And hopefully there's more. This is our first video, so hopefully there's more. Hopefully you guys like it and enjoy. All right. Bye.